Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, LLC, offers more value than any other good full-service real estate brokerage firm when it comes to the sale of your home. We offer at least 27 things that contribute to your home selling in the least amount of time at the highest price. To receive our free home selling pamphlet, email us at info@brooksanddavis.com or call 713-665-8329. We also assist people who want to purchase homes or who are interested in getting their real estate license. Visit us at www.brooksanddavis.com.
Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network. I'm your host, Ric Davis. If you don't follow me on social media, I urge you to do so. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Prime Real Estate Ric. If you are interested in buying, selling, or investing in real estate in the greater Houston area or anywhere in the great state of Texas, I urge you to stop by our website at brooksanddavis.com. As always, my co-host is not only an author, serial entrepreneur, but he's also a recognized Texas real estate broker. So I would like to introduce to the Prime Real Estate Network audience, the Texas real estate king, Mr. Larry W. Brooks.
Thank you again, Rick, for that warm introduction. I appreciate it. Hey guys, it's a pleasure to be in front of you again today. I hope everyone's having a beautiful day. It's had a great start to it. It's always a pleasure to be in front of you. And if you ever want to keep up with me, you can always visit my website, TexasRealEstateKing.com. I'm sorry, Larry W. Brooks. .com. You can always check out the things that I have going on, things that's going on in the city. And also you'll be able to find some of our past episodes there as well. And then, of course, on all of your social media platforms, it's Texas Real Estate King. And so I'm excited again today, Rick. You know, I have the pleasure of always being able to sit with a friend usually when we do these shows. And so I have another friend that's with me. He's doing amazing things, and I'm going to allow you to introduce him. But I want you guys, if you haven't already, make sure that you share this information out because you want to hear what my friend has to say today.
Our guest today is one of the most successful real estate agents in the greater Houston area. He's a luxury home marketing specialist, but he's also the co-founder and president of CiTY LiVN.com. He's an author, and he has a great book that's chock full of information that I think everyone who's watching this podcast today could use and benefit from. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest today to the Prime Real Estate Network audience, Mr. Matthew Flores.
Oh, I like that.
Thanks,
we'll
man.
do that time. Important guests, man.
So
That's
many
it.
people.
Yeah.
I appreciate all the love. Yes.
I mean, I appreciate Mr. Brooks for allowing us to have another member of his power team on the podcast.
I believe in knowing the right ones, Rick. I'm saying.
No, I mean, because I think a lot of our viewers, the people who listen to the podcast online, I think they really benefit from being introduced to these reputable real estate professionals that are not just part of our social and business circle, but also people that we partner with on business ventures.
I agree.
And I think that allows everyone who views this podcast to have that added benefit of comfort, of knowing that they're going to be in professional hands anytime they decide to work with anyone who's appeared on our podcast. So I want to thank you for carving some time out for us today, Mr. Flores.
Oh, my pleasure. You know, I really admire Larry, and known him for a while, and always been impressed with him. He's a straight up guy, great character, and so when he asked me, I was really surprised. I was like, wow, it's a privilege to contribute to whatever he's doing, because I watch him all the time. Like we watch each other from afar, and I see the things that he's accomplishing. We have a mutual friend, Darren. And we've spoken together from stage.
That's right.
And so, you know, it's always a pleasure to reconnect and be able to share value with y'all's audience.
But I have to ask, because of course the audience didn't get a chance to see when you guys met with each other in the studio today. It wasn't just a nice to meet you handshake. It was actually a bro hug. So please explain to me how far back you and Mr. Brooks go as far as you guys' professional relationship.
Well, the interesting thing is, you know, it's only a few years, but you know whenever you perform together and you can see the character of the individuals you're performing with, you definitely know, hey, this is a person that it feels like family. It's not just business.
I agree, Matt.
You know, we spoke together on a few events. We traveled, and we were able to pour into the community and learn about each other.
That's right.
And from what I learned from there, I was like, man, I really appreciate Larry. especially learning about his early ages as an entrepreneur. So I really admire people like him in his position. And since he's an individual that keeps striving to keep moving forward, those are the kind of people that I like to stay in relationships with.
Thank you, sir. Those are kind words. I appreciate that, man.
So,
hey, for all you out there in the audience, yeah, everything Matt said, that's me. I'm that guy.
So what impressed you about Mr. Flores when you guys first were introduced to each other, Larry?
Matt is well read, and I hope you talk a little bit about how many books that you've read, and then his past and what allowed him to read some of those books too. So I want us to make sure we make time for that. But a very impressive guy. You know, when you watch Matt has he's very soft spoken when it comes to getting his point across. But it is a growth process. I love the way he's building his brand when it comes to his real estate portfolio, and it comes to his company. And I'm watching him day in and day out. I not only like him, like what he's doing on Instagram, but I'm liking it on LinkedIn. I'm liking it on Facebook.
Right.
Every time I have an opportunity. So it's great information that Matt's putting out, and I truly appreciate being able to call him a friend. And I thank Darren for allowing us to tour together and speak together, because we really built iron sharpens iron. That's the truest statement ever wrote when it comes to meeting a gentleman like Matt.
So I want to talk a little bit about your real estate practice.
Okay.
How you built it, and what are some of the services that you offer the community currently?
Okay, yeah. So we have a 3-tier system. So we have our regular resale, retail. We also do new construction, and we recently started getting more involved with relocation and real estate. We have an agreement with the Influence Relocation, which is a growing relocation company in 13 cities.
Wow.
And so outside of that, my business partner also, we're building an investor brand as well that we'll soon release into the public. And so that keeps us pretty busy. Because, there's a lot of hats to keep putting on. But, when you're an entrepreneur, that's just part of the process.
That's right. No doubt about it.
Right. I was interested in hearing a little bit more about your relocation arm that you guys are establishing. What are you finding that people who are moving to this area are looking for from you as someone helping them relocate and not having much experience with the greater Houston area?
So the unique thing about relocation is that a lot of times the people already know the specific areas they want, and they kind of narrow down what it is they want. So it makes the process a whole lot simpler. The challenge is they need to make decisions fast, and it needs to be done fast.
Right.
So you have a time constraint. So you got to make sure that you're able to follow through quickly and efficiently.
Yep.
And that's the biggest difference. Whereas if you're with a individual that has time, and they're here and they're just moving, it could take you a month, 2 months to find a property for them, right? And they're not really in that much of a rush because they have the time.
That's right.
Whereas relocation, they may have a weekend or two. So you really have to make sure that you have everything in order and be able to produce fast and keep them happy, deliver extra, because you're develop like any other client, you want to develop that long-term relationship with these clients that are moving here.
One of the things about your practice and your brand that was impressive to me and Larry is that you offer a myriad of services to clients that decide to use you as their real estate professional. But I love how your website is so concise and easy to navigate, where all those different services is right there at a client's fingertips, and it's all presented in a way that's easily understood and easily digested. So can you talk a little bit about your website and what it is that people can expect to see when they go to your website?
Yeah, I mean, that's the brainchild of my business partner. He's a tech guy, and he really understands how to communicate with people with that platform. So the one thing about the website on CiTY LiVN is that we have areas where people can go in there, look at communities. They want to learn about a community. We have developers if they want to learn about new construction. And then we also have our regular real estate. We show our listings so people can go on there and look on there. And the benefit to people there is they get to learn different aspects of real estate so that they can have different options. We talked about it earlier. If somebody wants to develop on a piece of property, they can come and say, oh, well, you have builders, you guys do new construction. Yes, we can help you in many different ways to make sure that you get a product that you're happy with.
The reason why that service is so invaluable, because I'm sure we have people who listen and follow us on social media or follow the actual podcast who have maybe inherited real estate, and the home that's actually on the land that they've inherited may not be the type of product that they would like to personally live in. You offer information and assistance in actually removing that and having something new built on existing property. And I think there aren't as many companies that present themselves to the market in that fashion where people feel like that information is readily accessible. That's why I think it's so important for people to know someone like yourself, because I know Larry and myself, we come across people all the time. They'll say, Rick, you know, I have some land in my family. It's on a certain side of town. We don't really know what to do with it. No one's living in it. We're paying more in taxes. I want to turn it into some sort of investment vehicle where we're just not paying taxes. So that's why I've always loved to have guests on our show, people like yourself, that can help people make those type of decisions, because every day people lose properties over tax liens and things of that nature, and that's simply because they don't know what to do with the property, lack of knowledge. So that's why I'm so impressed with the work that you and your partners do.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, and that's something we're constantly growing. That we see that also, and you just said most people they're just unaware of the different options, right? So we, as a real estate professional, I think one of the things that a lot of real estate agents forget to do is provide options.
That's right.
We just want to get the task over with, and with the options in front of us, instead of being creative and finding options for the clients. And you may not be able to find an option, but if you present enough options, at least the client will feel like, hey, you're really looking out for my best interest.
I agree, Matt. I totally agree.
I want to ask you, how would you describe your experience in real estate? Do you feel as if a majority of your experience has been through hands-on, working with different styles of clients? Because I know Larry mentioned earlier that reading is one of your pastimes. So how do you feel in regards to supplementing your real-world experience with studying literature and books of real estate pros and other business professionals? How do you think that's added to your real estate practice?
So it's helped me because speed to the information, right? And this is something that I tell people, look, I didn't accumulate this gift to read fast. It took me many years, but because I did that when I got into real estate, I was able to devour as much content as I needed to, so that I could learn the different aspects of it. And really, the first thing that I always tell people when I focus on in real estate that really helped me is always dive into the negotiations of a transaction, because buyers already know what they want. Sellers already know what they want. It's like, how do I persuade them to choose me as the person that helps them?
That's right.
I agree.
And if you're good at sales and negotiations, you can have limited real estate knowledge and really go in there and get the business, because you can learn on the go.
That's right.
Absolutely.
You're as a new agent, you're going to learn on the go regardless, but you might as well be in the strongest position, and that's getting the deal. And most real estate agents lack the gift to get the deal, and it's a skill that has to be developed, right? And so that's what's helped me, and that's what drove me to keep seeking out more information. I will say this about reading, and this is just recently, it's been in my own life. What I want people to understand that is, if you're going to be reading certain things, you might want to be very specific and have a depth knowledge of certain subjects.
Okay.
So don't just read, you don't read 45 books on 45 different topics.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. Like I read 100 books on negotiations.
Right.
Wow.
Okay. And I was like, okay. And then after a while, I was like, I really didn't need to read all these. They all say the same thing, right? I probably just needed 2 or 3 that are really good, right? But I wanted to learn.
I
And
think
you
it
went
was
into detail. The thing about that is, and I was just saying this to someone the other day that I was meeting with, a potential agent, and I was explaining to him, like, the biggest difference between us and Joe Public is our negotiation skills, right? At the end of the day, I mean, a lot of information that the Joe Public wants when it comes to real estate, they can really Google it or go on, in our case, Houston Association of Realtors website and find a lot of information. But the one skill set that you can't duplicate is our ability to be able to negotiate, regardless if you're a buyer or seller. We're going to get you the best deal than you can as Joe Public trying to do it yourself. That's invaluable. And so, yeah, I totally agree. When it comes to the negotiation piece, that's the secret to our success. Yeah.
You know, the funny thing about life is that you can go through a majority of your time here on this earth and think you're doing something correctly until you actually get with a true professional that shows you how to go about attacking the task at hand. For example, I remember when I was in college, you always have tutors to help you out in certain classes. And one of the first things our tutors used to go over with us at Stephen F. was, how are you studying? Like, just opening up a book and pulling out a highlighter isn't studying. And when you're around true professionals, they teach you how to study in a way that'll be most effective for learning. So I want to ask you, as someone who reads a lot of books, what would you try to urge people to understand about not just looking at pages, but actually digesting the information when they are studying books or reading other literature?
Yeah, so I would, when you're picking the book, you know, what is your goal with that book? So if you find a specific book, because, you know, people are always recommending books, and you'll ask somebody and they'll recommend this book. But what is it you want out of the book?
Right.
Once you want that out of your book, then you start taking notes, and then you keep track of that, and then you go back there and then you see, okay, the best way that I've learned recently is, if you follow me on Facebook, I always share stuff for a reason. It's not because I want to, and obviously I want to share with people, but it's also, I know if I hear it, say it, see it, that it'll be ingrained in me, and then I can apply it. But I can't remind myself to apply it if I don't see it enough.
Perfect.
And so what people need to do is, if that's the book, then you need to, whatever it is, what part of that book you have that you want to get out of it, you read it, you say it, you share it, and then you do it.
Makes sense. Absolutely.
Yeah, and so that's what's really helped me, and that's why I share so much, because it's like I want to give the public, but it's really for me to go back in my mind and process it over and over, because I have to see it. When somebody comments, I get to see the quote again.
That's right.
I mean, the thing about it that I want to commend you for, because you truly are a man of the people, and you truly are a professional educator when it comes to real estate. Because when we come back for our break, I want to give you some opportunity to talk about your book.
Okay.
And the book that you've written and what it is you are providing for the public as far as information and knowledge in your book. Okay. So please stay with us. I urge everyone to stay tuned in to the Prime Real Estate Network, and we'll be right back after this message from our sponsors. This is Rick Davis, realtor and host of the Prime Real Estate Network. Are you currently leasing or looking to relocate to the Houston area, and you find yourself falling in love with the home but aren't quite in a position to purchase? Well, no worries. We offer the Right to Purchase program. We can place you in the home of your dreams at current market rental rates and give you up to 3 years to buy. Did you know that a majority of the homes that are for sale offer better quality than those that are for rent? So why wait? Don't cheat yourself, treat yourself. Let me and my team help you purchase a home that you and your family can fall in love with. Give me a call today at 832-928-3963. And remember to follow the Prime Real Estate Network podcast on YouTube, Facebook, iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Be blessed. Welcome back to the Prime Real Estate Network. I'm your host, Rick Davis. If you don't follow me on social media, urge you to do so. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Prime Real Estate Rick. As always, my co-host, the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks. And our guest today is Mr. Matthew Flores, co-founder and president of CiTYLiVN.com, and also one of the most successful luxury home marketing specialists here in the greater Houston area. Mr. Flores, I thank you for being our guest this week. Before our break, we were talking about your appetite for learning and how voraciously you dive into reading more than 20 books a year. You have recently written a book detailing how someone can go about mimicking or mirroring your business behaviors and reading more books to better themselves in their business pursuits. Could you talk a little bit about your book and show our audience the book that you've written?
Yeah, this is the book. It is how to read 100 books in a year, and you can actually go to that howtoread100books.com or matthewflores.com to order the book, and I'll sign it if you order from there. Yeah, getting into that, it's interesting because in 2004, man, I probably had read 3 books total in my whole career, my life. And I just didn't see the value in it. I'm an action guy. I was like, okay, if I just outwork everybody, like my dad says,
Right.
you show up early,
Leave
stay late,
Right.
work
Yeah.
harder than everybody else. Okay, great. But I kept hitting a ceiling, and I kept hitting a ceiling. I was like, why do I keep hitting this ceiling? And it wasn't because a lack of effort. It was just a lack of knowledge, wisdom, skill. And so I was fortunate enough to have a mentor come in my life, and his mentors told me, hey, you want to get better, the people that you're associating with, that you're trying to connect with, the quality of them is at your level and below, and they should, if you want to move up wherever you are, you need to make sure that the quality is higher than you.
Yeah.
And how do you do that? Well, the first thing is you have to increase your self-image. And one of the biggest challenges for most of us is, how do we develop our self-image? Well, there's multiple ways you can do it. You can get around, the best way is to get around mentors. And sometimes those mentors may not be right next to you.
Mm-hmm.
They may be in these books.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Right? So you start reading biographies and learning about people overcoming things that you never would have thought of, and be like, oh, my situation's not that bad. This guy had this problem. I can get over it. And but it's crazy because, I tell people once that happened, everything changed. Everything changed. And Patrick David says, and I just posted not too long ago, that every 90 days someone should notice something different of you.
Wow.
And what that means is you're growing.
That's right.
Wow.
You're growing.
Without
Every
like
90
that.
days you're growing, because everything happens in 90-day cycles. If you're consistent, right, you'll see results 90 days later.
Wow.
And once I knew that, I was like, okay. And then I heard someone say that the Success Magazine said that the average CEO was reading 50 to 60 books a year.
Yep. I remember reading that. Yeah.
Yeah. And as a driver's helper for Budweiser, I'm sitting there thinking, how do I become the CEO of this company or of my own company? Well, they just told you.
Yeah.
Associate with people who are higher level than you and read 50, 60 books a year. I was like, 50? I'm blind in my right eye.
Yeah.
Like, I'm legally blind in my right
Wow.
eye. How the heck am I going to read
Wow.
that many books?
Right.
But I trained myself, and I tell people, when I used to deliver beer in 2005, they didn't have the cabs in those trucks. Didn't have AC.
Uh-oh. In Houston, Texas area?
Texas.
Oh, man.
So my driver, when I was a helper, is driving, and he's seeing me all sweaty reading books, and he's like, bro, why are you always reading books?
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, because I want to be in a different position in the future,
Absolutely.
right? And so what the books did was open up to me, but please don't, there's right now, nowadays, that kind of worked for a while. But nowadays, there's too many people talking about reading books, and I see too many people wanting just to read books.
Mhm.
And they're not wanting to take action. What this book actually does is it gives you reading hacks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
So you don't have to read the full book. You find the books you want to read, and then
Mhm.
it'll teach you how to get what you need out of those books.
Wow.
That's
So
a-
people
that is
think,
a secret,
they think, I got to read from front to back.
Yeah.
No, if unless you are a crazy man like me, I can read a 600-page book of Napoleon. But that's just because I'm obsessed with wanting to find out what Napoleon did,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or Titan by J.D. Rockefeller, which is 900 pages.
Studying their mindset and their drive.
Correct. These are books that I didn't say I read, not and nothing against fiction. You should read that on your free time, but that shouldn't be the bulk of your reading.
No doubt. Yeah. That's not going to be growth. It's not going to be as much growth when it comes to that fiction. So I agree with you. That's pastime. That's what you do when you just kind of lay back on the beach, if that's what you enjoy doing. Me, I'm still kind of like you. I want something that's going to allow me to grow. It's going to give me some real good things that I can take action on.
Absolutely. I want to ask you, Mr. Flores, as far as real estate marketing, promotion and marketing for your book, do you have any events coming up this quarter, or where can people who view this podcast or hear this podcast have opportunity to meet you? Maybe actually pick your brain, get a copy of the book. Do you have anything from that standpoint coming up in the near future that we can mention right now on the pod?
Yeah, so I started last year. I started an event called I already went. I had a seminar last year,
Absolutely.
Striving for Success. So I'll have another one in the fourth quarter, Striving for Success seminar. And then I'll let you know, and I'll send you guys when that comes out there, invite y'all, and I'll have books there. But right now, I don't have anything as far as promoting the book. I'm really heavily focused on building my real estate company.
Absolutely.
And because I want to focus on the few. And so that's why I'm really focusing heavy on that. And if you see on my platforms, I'm focusing heavy on promoting real estate, mainly real estate. And that's because I'm growing my team. I want to make sure I stay focused on that. And I also do sales training for first-year real estate agents. Just to share, once again, if you teach it, you retain it. That's mainly why I do it, is to help people grow. But also, I need to keep growing so that I'm sharing this information, I can retain it. Because a lot of people will read and they don't do any actions. I heard somebody say that, would you rather have someone who's read 700 books or someone who's done 700 transactions teaching you?
Yeah. That's
and so my thing is, why wouldn't you have someone who's done 700 books and 700 transactions? That guy's a beast.
Absolutely a monster.
Yes.
And it's funny because with me and Larry, we discuss these things out of the studio, off camera a lot, just picking each other's brain, just from a business mindset. And everything you've mentioned today is spot on. We talk about these things privately so much, but I don't think there are enough professionals like yourself actually illustrating the value of reading 50 books a year, of actually joining organizations where you'll be around business people that are on a level or have attained certain successes that you wish to attain in the future. Because a lot of times when you're starting, especially a new business venture, it seems like such a daunting task that, like you said, people kind of don't take action because they don't have a blueprint as far as where or how to start taking action. So I would like for you to please let the audience know, if you're a new agent, an aspiring agent, how would you advise people to get in contact with you for mentoring and or taking advantage of your stewardship from that standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, you can go to my Facebook page, Matthew Flores. Just look for my pretty face on there and send me a message. If not, you can go to my Instagram. It's iMattFlores, IMATTFLORES. Follow me, and I always put videos on there training new agents. I'm very free with it. I follow the Gary V model. Just give out the content free. My mentor Dr. Eric Thomas, he's got so much free stuff on there that can really help you develop as an individual. And so I just follow those models so that I can keep sharing. But yeah, those are the platforms that people should share. And I would encourage you, and I appreciate you doing that. I would encourage people to look at it because I talk about, and you see a lot of the majority of the time I'm talking about sales.
That's right.
Like, you need to learn how to sell.
Yeah.
And I come from the beverage industry. I spent 9.5 years in the beverage industry, and they're not nice. Okay, it's not. They're not nice. In real estate, there's too many. Everybody wants to be nice and happy and great, and I've been guilty of that, doing that bringing that kind of environment into my own team. And I think you have to be diplomatic, but you also need to have extreme ownership. And we're lacking that in our industry, and that's why a lot of people, we're losing to these discount brokers because we aren't heavily focused on, like you talked about, negotiating. And I remember your story in the back when you were selling things as a kid. I'm sure that has helped you going forward, and you're able to say, "Hey, I'll do whatever it takes to get." I'm going to
negotiate, no doubt about it.
I mean, I urge everyone who hears this episode now and in the future, please visit Matt's page on Facebook. Follow him on Instagram, because those sales techniques, those motivational videos, even if they're not, you didn't plan for them to be motivational, I'm sure they are. I'm sure there are people who've been sitting on the sidelines, who follow you on social media, and your videos would inspire them to apply to a real estate school online, to think about trying to get a license. So for that, I want to thank you publicly. Mr. Brooks.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything you would like to share with the audience this week before we sign off, sir?
Not at all. Continue to follow the page. You can always go to Facebook, Facebook.com/Texas Real Estate King. We'll have some events that are going to be set up. I'm going to be speaking with Rita with the Champion School of Real Estate here near the end of the month. I want you guys to tune in for the live episode. I'm going to talk a little bit about the hustle of the real estate game and how I got into it and things like that. So I want you to tune into that. And Rick, I'm just excited. We rolling into the weekend here. My son gets every year. My son has an opportunity. His birthday is coming up, but every year for his birthday, and unless it's one of the big fives, he has an opportunity to choose to go anywhere in the country that he wants to go. And for some reason, this kid picks Miami this year, so I'll be hanging out on the beach. Yeah, and maybe that's what it is. He's like, Dad, let's go to Miami. Why Miami? Well, let's just go to Miami. So we're going to Miami this weekend. So I'm excited to just be out there with my son and just building.
Well, enjoy yourself. I want to thank everyone for tuning in this week. On behalf of our guests, Mr. Matthew Flores and the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks, I'm Rick Davis with the Prime Real Estate Network. I urge everyone to tune in next week. And if you need anything between now and next podcast, reach out to Larry, myself, Mr. Flores, or Brooks and Davis Real Estate online, social media, on Facebook. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll see you all next week. Stay blessed.
You.
Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, LLC is marketing a property for sale right now that you can buy. These properties range from land lots for under $20,000 to move-in ready homes $500,000 and more, along with everything in between. To see this week's list of properties for sale you can buy now, go to bit.ly/BDREF weekly list. That's bit.ly/BDREF weekly list. If you plan on selling some real estate and you need it on the weekly list, call 713-665-8329 to speak with someone about it.